Hi, I'm Rupha Ramani and you're watching The Cup of Dreams. Thank you so much for joining us here. I'm actually at a very picturesque venue here. You can just see snatches of it behind me. I'm right outside the Dharamshala Cricket Stadium here, and there's a big one that's going to be played out on Sunday, which is India versus New Zealand. That's the big clash that's going to come up this weekend. But of course, there's another big one that's brewing at Wankhede just in moments from now, and that is England versus South Africa. It's a cracker of a contest that is going to take place there, and the news that's coming in is that the captain Themba Bavuma has been ruled out of the match against England due to some illness. A little unexpected this, and a bit of a surprise, and that would be something South Africa wouldn't really want. Aiden Markram will captain the side in his absence. That's the update from Wankhede at this point. Let's sort of set this up for you. This particular encounter, it's a must win for both these teams. Not really because of the lack of points or just where they are placed in the tournament so far. They've actually had a decent run. South Africa more than England for sure. South Africa coming into this match on the back of two very strong wins, and then the upset, of course, at the hands of Netherlands right here in Dharamshala. That was the last match that was played here, and I'm sitting right outside this stadium where South Africa witnessed its first defeat against Netherlands in this particular tournament. So they're coming on the back of that. A lot to play for, a lot of point, a lot to prove. And it is upsetting that Themba Bavuma will not be leading the side in the very important matchup today against England. Aiden Markram and Jos Buttler are ready for the toss, is what we have said. Jos Buttler, no changes there. The one positive for the England side ahead of this match would be the presence of someone like Ben Stokes. He came out of retirement. He was ready to feature in this tournament and play for England in this World Cup. Was not to be a hip niggle. Kept him out of the initial part of England's campaign, but he's all set to make his start in this particular match. And the news from the centre is that Buttler has won the toss and he has decided to field first. There's always not a bad option that in Wankhede. You always want to know how much you're chasing down. It's a fabulous stadium, a lot of energy there. It's quite an electrifying ground there at the Wankhede. Perfect venue for an England versus South Africa. And if you just look at the way England has come into this particular matchup, you know that they've also started off not in a manner that they would be all too happy about. It was a rematch of the 2019 World Cup final between England and New Zealand. That's what kick-started proceedings for the World Cup itself, and they started off a little shakily, losing to New Zealand. So not the perfect of starts for England as well. They've had a mixed bag sort of a tournament. Came back strongly, but again stumbled once more. Wouldn't be happy with that performance against Afghanistan, which is again their last match recently against Afghanistan in Delhi. That's something that they would not be happy about as well. So England, South Africa, both bruised teams in some sense coming into this particular contest in the Wankhede. They would both want to set things right. They would both want to get some momentum back ahead of what is a very tense and will probably be a very intense second half of this tournament. We are exactly possibly at the halfway mark at the Cricket World Cup. I am, as I specified and as I mentioned a while earlier when I started this live, outside Dharamshala, and we are all prepping. Everyone here is sort of busy. There's a lot of activity going on around the stadium. The whole city is a little festive. It's a rather quiet city otherwise. It's a rather serene backdrop otherwise. Everyone leaves the city for the urban rush of everyday lives from all the metro cities to come here up in the mountains to find some serenity, find some peace. But there's not going to be any of that this weekend because it's India versus New Zealand in just a day from now, and that's what the entire city is prepping for. And England, of course, left this particular venue and came over to Wankhede to play England rather. South Africa was here and they're now scheduled to play England in that match. Markram, in fact, at the toss saying that Themba has pulled up with a bit of an illness. So that's why he isn't featuring in this lineup. Aiden Markram is leading the side for this game. It's a very important matchup. So that's an opportunity for Hendricks. The playing 11 for both the sides are out. So we'll get you a bit of that. The good news is Ben Stokes is in. Ben Stokes is in that lineup. What a batting lineup that promises to be. And so is Harry Brook, which is a relief for the all-round, for the batter, because he was one of the key contributors for England in that loss against Afghanistan. He was the only one who scored a half century there, and the only one who sort of showed some semblance of resistance to the Afghanistan spin attack. Gus Atkinson is in there. We saw him marking his run-up. So too David Willey. Reece Topley continues to find a place here as alongside Mark Wood. That's your pace unit. Adil Rashid there. No place for Moeen Ali. And the rest, of course, pick themselves. Johnny Bairstow, David Malan, Joss Butler, and of course, you can't keep Joe Root out of the side here in this particular contest. So you know how important someone like Joe Root is for this matchup against South Africa. Let's also take a quick look at what the South Africa 11 looks like, shall we? We'll just tell you quickly how that team is. Again, looks to be a team otherwise, apart from Reza Hendricks there making his appearance in the 11. It's largely a side that you're familiar with. Quinton de Kock, Reza Hendricks, Rassie van der Dussen, Aiden Markram, Henry Klaassen, David Miller, Marco Jansen, Gerald Coetzee, who's also had a decent tournament. Keshav Maharaj there, who'll be sort of licking his lips at the prospect of bowling at the Wankhede, that'll be much a little later on. Kagiso Rabada, Lungi Ingiri, this is what the 11 looks like. So quite an exciting match is what we are going to witness here. It's going to be quite interesting because both the teams really in need, desperate need of a win there. If you look at matchups, and we mentioned this a while earlier as well, you know, we have, of course, England's bowlers versus South Africa. They will look to attack Quinton de Kock at the start. You can't leave someone like Quinton de Kock too settled for too long, because if he gives you the start that you know he's capable of, and you know what he's done so far in this tournament, 2 centuries already, he's really made this his own so far. He knows he's in good nick. He's probably one of the strongest aspects of the South Africa batting lineup there, so you can't really leave him too settled for long. So there's going to be quite a lot of pressure on England to make sure they don't let Quinton go off at the pace that he normally does, and they try to keep him quiet as much as possible. And you obviously have a very, very strong middle order there, a very settled, steady Rassie van der Dussen. You can't put much past him too. He's been a rock of that lineup, amongst all the flamboyance around him. He's really someone who stitches that innings together. So again, a very key exponent, a very key component of that batting lineup for South Africa. You know, when you have Aiden Markram again, a lot of responsibility on his shoulders, not just when it comes to the batting and giving that impetus in the middle overs, especially when you will have someone like Adil Rashid operating at that point, but also Henry Klaassen, David Miller. These are proven match winners and proven and guys who really sort of created a lot of impact there in the middle order for South Africa. So that is what the lineup looks like. And for the England bowlers, I'm really going to be very, very keen to see how some of the pacers tackle the top order of South Africa at the start. It's going to have something, you know, the sort of track that Wankhede usually offers. You have something in it for almost everyone, whether it's your pacer, the spinner, and there's a lot of runs as well. So it's going to be an exciting encounter. I'm of course here, and there's a lot of shoots and a lot of interesting things lined up for you from Dharamshala, which you're going to witness over the next few days, including tomorrow as well as Monday. We know that the New Zealand team is just going to come in here any moment now to start their practice session, the last one before the matchup against India. It's not a happy one for India because New Zealand has always got the better of this side in World Cup encounters, and particularly the ODIs as well. It's not been a happy hunting ground for India as far as their rivalry against New Zealand goes in this particular tournament. So that there's a lot at stake here. And there's also a favoured ground of someone like Virat Kohli. He's the top Indian scorer here at this particular venue. So a lot of good memories for someone like him, and no wonder his family is here, Anushka and his child as well, here to witness what we all know would be a very, very momentous matchup for sure. It's going to be an exciting one. Two unbeaten sides vying for the top spot in the points table at the halfway stage of the World Cup. It doesn't get bigger than that. That's what we're here in Dharamshala for. But as always, we will continue to bring you all updates, all the latest from not just the venues that we will be going on from here onwards, but also the entire World Cup. It's going to be a fight to the finish, and we'll be here to give you all the latest, whether it's analysis, whether it's features, whether it's all the ringside view of the different cities that the World Cup will take us to. And you keep following us for all of that and more only on First Post here at Firstpost coverage of the World Cup in our special Cup of Dreams segment. For now though, thank you so much for watching in. Do stay on for all the latest updates as always over the weekend, and I'll see you soon